like their sanity. I mean, you are depriving them of their sanity. You are expecting more riots and more deaths to be held in these jail cells. Like, what is wrong with these people?
And welcome back to another episode of the Convoluted Podcast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus. I'm here with Liz.
Hey.
So, we're gonna be doing a bit of everything this week. So you know how we roll. It's serious, funny, and somehow convoluted when it comes to these things. But before we get into the articles, how has your week been, Liz?
It's been crazy. I started my diet on Tuesday after my mom left for Chicago. She comes back next week, but she's watching the grand dogs, and I am taking care of the kiddo. And the kid now is officially on spring break. So,
Oh my god, I completely forgot about. I completely forgot about spring break.
Okay?
I don't think spring break exists for people like us anymore.
For you guys single, I am still a mother, so I get to,
like
I still have that,
supplementary.
Yeah, but lucky for me, I don't have blackout dates for my vacation, so I just take them when I want to take them. So as long as they're not impeding on anybody else's, we're good. So, and if I put them far enough in advance, we're good too. But yeah, I had the event. I'm already down 5 pounds on my diet, so that's a good thing.
Ooh, congrats.
And yeah, so I had a really nasty headache on Friday morning. It was just before 5 a.m. I knew my alarm would go off at 5:30. My alarm didn't go off. I set it for the wrong time.
Oof.
I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning with a mad dash to get out of for work in time. So yeah, that was a good Friday. I'm like, great.
One of those days.
Yeah, it was one of those days. I was like, oh God, that was just over with. So, but yep. It's been a crazy week. Trying to juggle schedules and make sure somebody gets ready, and another little four-legged animal taken care of too. So it's been an adventure for sure. Yeah. How was your week, Ben?
Not too bad. I've been feeling a little bit ill these last few days. I'm feeling better now. Definitely last night was the big one. So, but I'm feeling better now.
That's good. I was nauseous all day yesterday, most of the day. It was hard. I was like trying to figure out what I ate, but I'm like, maybe it's because of the lack of protein in my diet right now.
You just never know, right? It's annoying. But I've been well. We're starting our spring cleaning, but the rain has been hard around this area, as you know. But we're starting spring cleaning, getting prepped, things like that, and just a general just getting ready for the spring/summer and things of that nature. Nothing so grandiose. I know so, but yeah, that's kind of been my just kind of getting day by day. A simple but tiring week, to say the least.
Yeah.
So,
I get it.
yeah. So before we get started with the episode, we have an announcement. We forgot to mention we did spend kind of like St. Patrick's Day weekend technically, right? Together. I don't know why we forgot to mention that. We went and hung out together. I can't believe that was just this weekend. Yeah, that's just flies by.
Last weekend. It was last weekend. Oh God. Oh, time flies, right?
Yeah, it literally feels like it was longer than that. But during that time, as we were hanging out, the weather wasn't also that great, so we got to spend a lot of the time inside, with more drinking, which we don't normally do. I think we had one or two more.
We usually do about average 4 drinks. We did about 4 drinks at night.
But anyways, we were discussing.
The first 2 went down real fast.
Definitely. What we're doing that, we had more time to chit chat since most of our outdoor activities are go 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 kind of mentality, right? So we had more time to chat as we were waiting for stuff, and Liz and me decided of a fun, because we've been lacking on bonus episodes, so we do apologize for those who have been listening to those. But we wanted to do something fun and actually enjoyable to watch and listen. And Liz brought up something, and then she's going to be taking the lead on this one. This is going to be kind of Liz's little pet project. It's not going to happen like every other week. It's more like probably a month to bi-monthly thing. We are still working on it, but I'll let Liz kind of take the lead since it's going to be her pet project. Start, Liz.
Oh yes, I am. I'm gonna admit my guilty pleasure in reading smut. I've delved it in finally. I've caved to the peer pressure. I have roped in Jesus into the idea of maybe reading one together. Well, I think you kind of brought it up once I admit my true passion right now. We have come up with reading or listening to a audiobook, Smut Varied, and having some fun with that and taking up to it. Right now, we're currently listening. I have read more than he has in this book, so granted,
At the time
I'm
of the
enjoying this a little bit too much.
yes, at the time of the recording of this
At the time
episode,
of this recording.
yeah, she has bypassed me by that point. But yeah, we are
Way too
starting.
far.
We're starting a book club, basically. In a sense, we're starting a book club. So we'll be announcing books for us to read or listen, so you could join us along. Yes, the reason Liz mentioned, she brought up that her guilty pleasures, and we found out that through, if anyone listening to this episode that's not on YouTube or any other podcast platforms who are listening to on Spotify, and you have Spotify Premium, they have, quote, free books to listen, and we chose one of them together. Go ahead, Liz, continue. Sorry.
And the title of that book is called The Morning Glory Milking Farm. It's been really good. It is right up my alley of like the type of stuff I kind of want to listen to because it's really, I don't know, interesting, intriguing, different.
So yeah,
Not to a normal thing.
so if you guys want to join us for that discussion a little bit deeper once we finish reading, we'll be going over kind of basically a style of book club for that. Join us, listen to it. If you have Spotify Premium, it's free on there. You can look for it online. Definitely, as far as I've read, it's been an intriguing ride. Liz is, like I said, a little further ahead, but we look forward to doing this book club as an experiment. This is going to be Liz's first official project into bonus episodes on her own. I'll help her, but hope you enjoyed Liz's project. But yeah, go ahead, Liz.
God.
Go ahead.
It is so good. It is so good. If anybody needs an idea, it's about minotaurs being milked.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Right in that bowl, man.
Go ahead. Once again, Liz, the name of the title for people to read.
It's Morning Glory Milking Farm.
All right, then, everyone. There we go. Go ahead and check that out if you want to. The bonus episode should be coming out in the near future. We're still working on that. Like I said, it's Liz's first official project. So we're going to try to make it as best listenable and enjoyable for everyone. And always let us know if you have any thoughts as far as that. But yeah, look forward to that in the near future. And we'll probably have an official name once it comes down. Okay. Anything else to report, Liz, before we get started?
No, I think we are ready to roll this episode.
Okay. So let's get started with a feel-good story. And when I say feel good, I mean the kind of thing that restores a little bit of faith in humanity.
Oh, this sounds like it's about to be wholesome as hell. Bring it on.
Get this. An Instacart shopper named Jessica Hughes, I think that's how you pronounce her name, was out doing her usual routes.
I thought of Higgs. I would say Higgs, but
is it Higgs? Jessica Higgs. Okay. Jessica Higgs was doing her usual rounds, delivering groceries. She gets to one customer's house, an elderly man, and right away her spidey sense starts tingling.
Spidey senses? I'm picturing her in a bright red and blue suit. Instacart to the rescue.
So, pretty much, but in this case, she just had this gut feeling that something wasn't right. The dude wasn't responding well and seemed really off. So instead of just dropping off the groceries and handing out, she contacted the man's daughter, and turns out she was on the spot on. The guy was really unwell.
Bruh. How you get from to actual hero. Imagine if every Uber driver had that kind of awareness. Sir, you're way too drunk to go to your ex's house. How about we just go to a burger instead?
Exactly. So what's wild is that the whole situation shows just how little connection we how it shows how these little connections we make even through apps can mean something way bigger. People are hailing her as a hero, and honestly, they're not wrong.
Yeah, but someone who there is probably like, well, she should have just done her job and left. And those people suck.
Absolutely. And here's the kicker. Jessica actually posted a TikTok about the whole thing, explaining how she followed her gut feeling. She even mentioned, I never talked about this stuff, but this time I felt like I had to, end quote.
So not only did she save a dude's life, but she also got social media points for being a good person. Win-win.
And that man's daughter let her thank Jessica for her concern and effort, basically calling her a hero. It's wild how much of a difference just difference just paying attention can make. And apparently the guy ended up being rushed to the hospital where they found out he was dealing with a serious issue.
Sorry, excuse me. Wow. So Jessica literally saved his life by caring enough to check in. That's a hell of a lot better. Your delivery here now give me 5 stars. End quote. And honestly, it's kind of touching that someone took the time to care that much.
Yeah, and the whole internet basically rallied around her. People were commenting things like, "This is what humanity should be about," and "Thank you for trusting your instincts." You rarely see that unanimous positivity online.
And of course, Instacart's probably just like, we had nothing to do with this, but good job. Here's a coupon.
I think what makes this story so impactful is how it highlights the human element of these gig platforms. It's not just a transaction; it's actual people interacting and making decisions.
Yeah, and that's something worth talking about. Because most of the time, gig workers are treated like faceless delivery bots. But stories like this prove that sometimes they're actual lifesavers.
And you know what's crazy? This isn't the first time something like this has happened. There are tons of stories out there of gig workers stepping up when it really matters, whether it's delivering food during disasters or making sure someone's okay.
Makes you wonder if we're underestimating just how important these little interactions can be. Like, how much good actually comes from people just giving a damn?
Totally. So, Liz, should we expect Uber drivers and DoorDash to start moonlighting as superheroes now?
Only if the costume comes free with the job.
We doubt it these days, but yeah, that is a very positive story of just a person's gut reaction of like, just just never know, something's off. Um, Something we haven't been definitely. There's been some sad news these past couple weeks, and it's been rough to find some stories on the Potter's positive side. But
I
yeah,
know it has been. It has been really difficult to find stories that are like on a lighter note. We don't hear about these stories because they're kind of minimized out in the world with all this ugliness. So this is a little lighthearted. This is nice. This is good. I like it.
yeah, it's good. Um, it's another thing where it's sometimes these interactions like this, like they mentioned, there's like probably more out there that don't get that highlight, but it happens, right?
Mhm.
And this one saved someone's life, to say the least. And sometimes some people just ignore it and just go on with their day and just ignore it, just being another faceless customer in this. And it could have been. But yeah. Any other thoughts on this?
Nope, I think it was a good story to start out this podcast today.
All right then. So let's jump into the next story because from one act of kindness to a complete lack of it. This one's about the Baxter County Jail in Arkansas just deciding to go, nope, no more phone calls for inmates. Like just cutting them off cold turkey.
Wait, seriously? So they're just taking all the inmates' phone privileges. What? Did someone butt dial the warden too many times or something?
Not quite. So apparently the FCC introduced new rules capping the prices of inmate calls to make them more affordable. And instead of complying, Baxter County Jail was like, yeah, we're just gonna not do phone calls anymore. Problem solved.
They're like saying, oh, the rent's too high. Let's just burn down the house. Total overkill.
Exactly. And here's what's even more ridiculous. According to the jail's FCC's decision to limit the cost of inmate calls would supposedly cost the facility too much money to implement. So rather than taking a profit cut, they just said, nah, we're cutting off all the calls.
They're punishing inmates for something that's supposed to help them. Like, we can't overcharge you anymore, so now you get nothing. Real classy. Real classy.
And the worst part, they're cutting off phone call access for thousands of inmates. It's not just about calling friends or family, though that's the obvious part of it, but it's also about legal calls. And according to the article, many inmates rely on phone calls for essential communication with their attorneys. So imagine getting cut off a person's access to legal help just because of money.
Oh, I bet some lawyer somewhere is salivating over the potential lawsuit. Violation of civil rights, probably just scribbled down in big, bold letters.
Exactly. And according to Arkansas Times, families of inmates are already voicing their outrage. Quote, we're talking about people who are trying to stay in touch with their families and trying to prepare for legal cases. This is beyond cruel, end quote, one family member said.
What's the jail's brilliant plan here? Just leave everyone in the dark? Like, are they expecting the inmates to start learning Morse code or something?
And here's another thing. Apparently, this move isn't even saving them that much money. It's more of a power play to show that if they don't get their profits, then everyone suffers. It's wild.
It's like, we rather nobody access to call than let them be affordable. I guess they really took the term cutting costs literally.
Pretty much. And here's the kicker. Some states are already trying to fight back against this kind of crap. But until something changes on the national level, places like Baxter County are just going to keep pulling stunts like this.
You think someone would step in and say, hey, you can't just deny people basic communication rights because you're pissed about profits, but here we are.
Yep. So Liz, do you think this is just about money thing, or do you think it's some of these jails are just enjoying the power trip?
It's definitely a mix of both. Greed and control go together like peanut butter and jelly. Only, way more disgusting.
That's the perfect way to put it. So we should start. So should we start a GoFundMe to get these inmates their own cell tower or something?
Because it's something any the world needs. There's more rogue Wi-Fi hotspots popping up in random jails.
So yeah, it's a going on the opposite side of the spectrum. People just losing their rights to talk to the outside world.
This is like their sanity. I mean, you are depriving them of their sanity. You are expecting more riots and more death to be held in these jail cells. Like, what is wrong with these people? Do you know? It is like what you do. Like, it is taking people's sanity away from them. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but you know what I mean? Like mentally, we were talking about, like taking somebody away from like basic human rights. We were talking about with that, in that room for 72 hours or whatever heck by themselves. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
It is like, I don't know that I want to say I know the terminology, but my brain is like not coming to the term. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah, it's getting borderline barbaric. You know, getting borderline barbaric. You are taking someone's way to communicate to the outside world. For those people whose family aren't able to travel to these facilities, and like it mentioned in the article, the ability to lose connection to your legal assistance, like that just puts another strain and another stress level to people who are, just stuck in these circumstances for one reason or another. It just, and it's all at the end of the day for money. It's just, and not even, it probably pennies on the dollar at this point, or it'll be nickels on the dollar once the penny's gone. But
We would talk about Morse code, but then you come back to the idea they have to write letters, and some people are illiterate and unable to actually write. And unfortunately, that's the some of it, or they don't know how to write.
do you want to know a fun fact?
Because what?
Okay, first I'm going to ask you a question. How many people do you think are illiterate in the sense of they aren't able to read above an 8th grade level in America?
I could believe about 80%.
80% of Americans can't read above an 8th grade level? Well, that's not.
Maybe,
that's a little. Okay, that's pretty
a little
bad.
exaggerated. Okay, fine. All right. 30%. I don't know.
You're closer. That's more reasonable. About 28%. 28% of Americans can't read beyond an 8th grade level.
Far off that second guess.
No. So yeah, instead of 1 in 3, it's 1. So imagine 1 in 4 people can't read above an 8th grade level. So when you're in a crowd, 1 in 4 people can't read beyond an 8th grade level.
It just amazes me. But again, our education system, right? It's failing us. Right.
That's a whole other discussion, Liz. That's a whole other discussion these days, mostly with what's happening recently. But that's not for this show.
Yeah.
That's not for this show.
Nope. Not for the show, but but it does resonate. It does.
And on top of that, penmanship's horrible.
Oh yeah. Nobody knows how to read cursive. I love to write in cursive now. Like I just do it deliberately just to piss off people.
People can't even write in traditional text anymore. So have you seen some people's writing? It's like chicken scratch or near hieroglyphics. I'm like, what are you writing? Like I've been trying to improve on my penmanship just because it's been getting worse in some sense, but I'm like, I can still read it. But yeah, so
I write on a daily basis. So for me, it is not a normal anything because you think about what I do for a living. I have to write every day. So not like physically, but I'm writing. Even if I'm typing, but I also am writing things down as I jot things like, oh, I need this and I need that, and I have to take care of this. This is a number I need. I mean, I do it on a daily basis. So.
And look at that shit.
Oh yeah.
I find I love writing. I used to write a lot when I was in my teenage years, and here I am an adult and not like the same anymore. All right, getting sidetracked. I'm sorry.
No, a tangent. That's been a while, but yeah, like having people then that next level is like we're like, if that's what people are trying to, we're just losing communication in a sense where these inmates are now kind of just having to do it, and then there's another cost with supplies, paper, all that. Just another thing. Any other thoughts?
That's not cheap either.
Any other thoughts, Liz?
No, I think that it is barbaric and it's unreasonable to be taking away a human basic right. So
All right, talking about human basic rights, let's move on to something that's on a whole different level of messed up. So this story is about a guy who just recently escaped after being held captive for over 2 decades by his stepmother.
2 decades? Holy shit. That's some real life horror movie level trauma.
Not a single fuck was given this day.
Yeah, seriously. And here's the kicker. According to the reports, the poor guy was basically kept prisoner in his own home for 20 years. The only reason he managed to get out was because he somehow escaped and managed to contact the authorities.
That's terrifying. To be trapped like that for most of your life, it's just beyond fucked up.
And what's even worse is the state this guy was in when they found him. According to medical experts, he was suffering from severe malnourishment, muscle atrophy, mental health issues, and one article even mentioned how the effects of being held captive for so long was comparable to years of torture.
And all this time, people around him had no idea what was happening. How does that even happen? How do you hide something that insane for 20 fucking years?
Okay, so apparently his stepmother was very controlling and kept him isolated from the outside world. Even the neighbors had no clue what was going on. And his biological mother, who he hadn't seen in years, is now speaking out about the devastation she is in. She is. I thought my son was lost forever. She said, quoted saying.
Are the staff members locked up now? Because if not, I'm ready to start a mob.
She definitely is facing charges now, but of course the legal process is just getting started. Meanwhile, the public response has been huge. There's already crowdfunding campaigns going on to help him rebuild his life, and it's already raised over $100,000.
I just should. That dude's gonna need all the help he can get. Therapy alone is gonna be a massive part of recovery, and hopefully someone's making sure he's got a strong support system around him.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's insane that something like this could go on for so long without anyone noticing. It makes you wonder how many other people out there are stuck in situations like this with nobody even realizing.
It's just a horrible thought. At least this guy made it out. Hopefully he can get all the help he needs. And as for the stepmother, well, let's just say she's better to enjoy her stay in prison.
Couldn't agree more. But here's a question for you, Liz. What do you think needs to change so people like him don't fall through the cracks for so long?
Honestly, there's a problem with a lot of systematic failures here. Like neighbors and community members need to be more aware of what's happening around them. And maybe some sort of mandatory wellness checks for isolated people. I don't know, but something's got to change.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But let's just hope this guy's story makes people more vigilant about looking out for each other. And damn, that's a crazy story. That is a crazy story.
I know, right? I don't know. Just being trapped in your home for 20 years because your stepmother's that volatile. What? I had to wonder where the father was in this picture. Like, was the father around, just died, or and the stepmother just took full control? Like, it just blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, and the thing that got him free was he was lucky enough to, like, basically kind of MacGyver the house to the fire to escape the house. And that's how people found him. And there was articles, news reports also of, like, they were saying the neighbors saw him through the window and just never said anything. It's one of those social things of the way we are so connected online with people now. Also, we are so disconnected on top of that with the people around us. We used to live in a day when people could talk to their neighbors, and now people just ignore them. Me included. We are friendly. I think that's the best way I can say it with our neighbors. You greet them at most. And if we have issues with our landlines, then we discuss things. But besides that, we are not really close. That's the best way I can put it. Just the idea of local familiarity is lost in a lot of communities, to say the least.
I guess I have to disagree. We're very social with our neighbors. I know a couple of them. I know their dog names. I know their names. I know how they're doing, and we talk with each other, and we get to know each other. Every time we walk out with the dog, I think it's different because I do have a dog that I actually walk and take care of, and I know the people who have dogs and their names and the pets' names and where they live and my complex. So it's nice to have that interaction. So we're not like in social humans. In the winter months, I will say that yeah, we trap ourselves in the house. We don't really go out much. We try to avoid the rain, and yeah, I think it's crazy, that people are like that. I try and pay attention to my surroundings. I walk, but I have my phone on me for like obviously safety reasons, but also knowing that I can, you know, it I don't not on my phone. I'm always looking around, checking my surroundings and everything. But of course, again, how do you know if somebody's trapped in a house when you can barely see them inside the house alone, too? So
Yeah, as much as you want to see something, say something mentality, it's kind of hard to voice something and be wrong because we're also in that mentality.
it'd be like the crying wolf, too, right? On a certain way, not and yeah, it is a way of saying like, oh, I'm crying wolf, but it's not really crying wolf. It's just, you know,
So yeah,
yeah,
it
I
is.
don't know.
It's hard. There's a lot. There's a lot to this. There's a lot of layers to this. Just the idea of how someone probably in their early preteens was removed from society and lost and never to be found until later. It's just more so because I think he's just around in our age range. So think about it. It's just someone in our age range that was lost forever.
That's so crazy. Man, it. I mean, you were it's kind of set up, like that. I think teenagers would have been, if for us as teenagers, we were more involved with each friends. But, as we got older, we dissipated from everybody, right? From our teenage years. Um, I certainly fell off the block with my teenage friends, and, we just kind of went our separate lives. I mean, we're on Facebook and social media. We can see what everybody's doing, but
Yeah, and that's the other
yeah.
thing with this individual just grew up without the world around him, so he's definitely gonna need a lot of help getting himself situated with just his mental and physical health, but also just kind of the environment. Because the last 20 years, a lot has changed technologically and socially. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So good thing there are helpful people out there who are raising more money, and it's growing even more. Because they're gonna need a lot of help. But any final thoughts in this situation?
Nope, I think I tangented enough.
All right, so okay, we're not stopping that the train because we won't go from one horror story to another kind of nightmare.
Oh,
This
God.
one's
Why are you doing to me?
This one's about an IRL streamer who basically asked to get himself into some serious trouble. I don't know if you remember this name of Johnny Somali.
I don't know that name. What did this guy do? Because anyone like Johnny Somali is either a cartoon character or a real life mess.
It's definitely the latter. So Johnny Somali, to kind of do a close recap, is an IRL streamer who's made a habit of running around South Korea and a lot of other countries like Japan, and to cause chaos. Like his whole thing is just being as obnoxious as possible and pissing off the locals.
So basically, the human equivalent of nails on a chalkboard. Got it.
Pretty much. But here's where it gets worse. Apparently, during one of his streams, he decided would be a great idea to stalk, and this is just recently, to stalk and harass a female streamer named Nina. And according to reports, he's
Nana. That looks like Nana.
Nana. It's Japanese, so I think it's Nana.
Okay.
And according to reports, he followed her around, made creepy comments, and wouldn't leave her alone. Nana eventually had to file legal actions against him, saying she felt deeply violated and unsafe.
For fuck's sake. So he's not just an idiot. He's a dangerous idiot. And of course he's doing it for clout, right?
Yep, all for the clicks. And what's worse is this isn't the first time he's crossed the line. He's been arrested multiple times for public disturbances, and at one point he was detained after running around Seoul for half naked, literally just wearing his boxers. According to one article, the South Korean police were baffled by his complete disregard for public decency.
My God, this guy sounds like an embodiment of every dumbass tourist stereotype cranked up to 11.
And the crazy part, he generally doesn't seem to care. When he got temporarily banned from streaming platforms, his response was, quote, "It's just more publicity. It makes me more famous," end quote. Dude's living by the any publicity is good publicity mantra, even when it's clear his actions are hurting people.
Because nothing says successful influencer, quote unquote, like a rap sheet. What's next? Hey guys, today I'm going to live stream myself getting banned from another country. Like and subscribe.
You're not wrong. Apparently he's just not facing potential harassment charges, but also stalking and even allegations of sexual assault. The online backlash has been huge, and authorities are considering much harsher penalties this time. One legal expert even stated if this pattern of behavior continues, he could be banned from the country entirely.
Good. Maybe some actual consequences. Oh my God. We'll knock some sense into this guy. Although I wouldn't hold my breath. Clout chasers like him tend to have the survival instincts of a lemming.
You know, it's actually amazing how some of these streamers think being a complete jerk is somehow a ticket to success. And the fact that platforms are only now starting to take serious action says a lot about how broken the system is.
Honestly, maybe hit them where it hurts. Monetization. If these idiots can't make money off their chaos, they'll stop. And if the platforms refuse to do anything, then maybe they should be held accountable too.
I couldn't agree more, but who knows? This might end up being a landmark case in South Korea, deciding to prosecute him hard. Like, let's set an example kind of situation.
Let's hope so, because if the internet's going to reproduce jerks like Johnny Somalia, then at least let the legal system kick their asses back to reality.
Well said. So folks, if you ever think your content needs to involve harassing innocent people, maybe it's time to get a new hobby. Like learning how not to be an asshole. But yeah, once again, it's just a person chasing clout. I think we talked about him last year when he started doing some stupidity stuff. And it's
maybe. I don't remember.
Trust me, since then everything has skyrocketed, and we could probably have been doing a segment on him almost every other week, Liz. That's how bad it's been. He's currently being held in South Korea right now because he's facing charges. And he's been kicked off.
Well, maybe he deserves it.
He definitely does. He's definitely basically been kicked off, like I said, multiple platforms. He has now gone to this weird platform called party.com or party TV or something. That's how obscure it is. He went from Twitch to Kick. Actually, I think it started YouTube, whatever. Anyways, he's gone to this obscure one now. He recently was in court and he showed up drunk to his court hearing. He's, like I said, he's a bit of a mess. And with this new charge potentially coming up with Nana, since he's already being charged with the first counts that is currently being proceeded, the next one he's going to be charged as a felon. So this is even worse for him. So a lot of people want to.
Maybe some jail time might give him some time to reevaluate his life, his life in general.
You
God,
think
I don't know. Why would you want to be on to be? Why would you want to be nationally known as the person who's been kicked off every live stream?
the thing is,
That makes no sense.
He generally
What's that
doesn't.
title?
Like I said, I think he just doesn't care anymore. He's literally, I think in one of his streams, he said he's ready to crash out. And he, as far as what's happened, and that was before all this stuff with Nana and the running around with boxers. He's just doing that, and he's just making things worse for himself. And I think he just generally doesn't care. And I think
there's a screw loose with this guy. There's definitely a freaking few screws loose.
And I generally think he thinks he's just gonna end up paying a fine and getting like banned from the country. And a lot of people are speculating and saying he's gonna just potentially allegedly go to jail for 5 to 10 years minimum. And he doesn't believe that at all. He thinks he's just gonna pay a fine. And I think for situations like this, I think it's time to put a foot down, because there has his reign of chaos in South Korea alone has been crazy. The last couple months of him just being a public nuisance. There are mobs of South Korean streamers hunting him down. That's how much they hate him. He's been assaulted because that's how much they hate him. The tourists and foreigners who live in the area are having trouble because people see them as just another person who's gonna make light, or it's just making it hard for people because of this one individual. Because like, are you like that one guy?
That's just wow. That's just crazy. I think they should send him to North Korea for punishment.
Oh, he's been spouting a lot of that. He's like saying he quote like he thinks North Korea should take over South Korea.
Okay, never mind. Shouldn't have given him what he wants. But then he really can't do his own shit, man. Like he wouldn't be able to do any of his crap that he would be doing because they would right there in public.
Yep, he is definitely a interesting case. We'll probably come back to him once his cases start coming to light a little bit more. But since I've last looked into him, since that time his first court hearing to now, he's been wild. Like I said, from his first court hearing to now, he has done this to a Japanese streamer and to being more of a public nuisance. And that's just within the span. And he still thinks he's going to get away with it. Just a slap in the wrist and a fine. So.
Wow. That's crazy. He must have an STD that's frying his brain or something.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Early on, the idea
something, or in a worm or something is beating his freaking brain. I mean, like, who? I don't know. Why would somebody want to have that chaos? I don't know. I personally don't. So.
I think it was early on fame and clout chasing from that type of content got him so much hype that now there are just people who are agitators and people who just want him to crash out and are funding him. On top of that, he's not supposed to be earning any money, and he's still getting money for donations, and he's not supposed to not be doing anything. He's technically homeless in South Korea, but he is staying with, I forget the name of the person he's staying with. I think it's his lawyer. And it's wild. It's a whole story. And you'll hear more about it once things start to show. But this is just what you're hearing right now, Liz, is just the tip of the iceberg. And it's just
Jesus.
So any final thoughts on the Johnny Somali situation at the moment?
Oh, that's cray. That's all I gotta say. It's cray. There's gotta be something wrong with this guy. And it's 2 years and there's nothing's happening. Oi.
So Liz, let's end on a slightly less infuriating but definitely concerning note. Apparently, living in extreme heat can make you age faster. Like literally your age, your body at a quicker rate.
So global warming isn't going to kill the planet. It's turning us into old farts faster, too. Just lovely.
Pretty much. According to a study highlighted by NPR, prolonged exposure to high temperatures can cause cellular damage similar to what heavy smoking does to the body. It's hitting older adults the hardest. Researchers are calling it an accelerated biological aging process. Gross.
Great.
Being in the sun is worse than smoking.
Damn. Not only do we get melted during heat waves, but we're also getting the pleasure of aging, deteriorating faster. The sun's out there giving humanity the middle finger.
And here's the wild part. The research shows that this isn't just about dehydration or heat stroke. It's about how high temperatures mess with our cells on a microscopic level. According to the New York Times, it's like living in a furnace is equivalent to aging several years faster than you normally would have.
And of course, who's going to get hit the hardest by this? The elderly, the poor, anyone living in crappy housing situation where the air conditioner is just a fantasy.
Exactly. And there's already a lot of concern about how climate change disproportionately impacts low-income communities. One article from the San Francisco Chronicle points out how extreme heat exposure is just one more thing stacking the deck against the most vulnerable.
And let me guess, no one's actually doing anything about it because why fix a problem when you can just ignore it, right?
Yep.
And look at that shit.
And the health agencies are all saying more studies are needed, but apparently we need more proof that being slowly roasted to death isn't great for you.
And we've been hearing the same crap for years. Climate change is bad. We should do something. And then nothing happens. Man, why we're all here aging like we're stuck in some sci-fi time warp.
Right? And what's worse is that this study is just one of many pointing out how heat exposure damages our body over time. And the comparisons to smoking aren't just metaphorical. NPR mentions that biological aging effects of extreme heat are akin to smoking up to 20 cigarettes a day.
Yeah. So we're basically changed smoking just by existing in hot weather. What the hell are we supposed to do with that information?
Apparently, just stay cool and hydrate. Because, that's super easy when the entire planet is gradually turning into a microwave.
And then there's that fact that most of the people suffering the worst are the ones who can't afford the luxury of good air conditioning or proper cooling systems. Like stay cool when your house feels like an oven.
And according to the week, scientists are saying we should be looking at extreme heat exposure with some same seriousness we do with smoking and pollution. This is not just a matter of comfort. There's a public health emergency, one research stated.
So, what are the powers that actually doing this, and are they ignoring it until we're all crusty and shriveled up like raisins?
More or less, they keep calling for more studies, more research, but actually policies are lagging way behind. The scary part is, with climate change getting worse and more people going to be dealing with these kind of conditions.
Well, that's horrifying. And of course, all the poor communities and older folks are going to bear the brunt of it because that's how the mess of world works.
Exactly. So I guess the moral of the story is if you're not already terrified of climate change, maybe you should be. Because it's not just about melting ice caps anymore. It's about the fact that the environment itself is actively trying to speed run your expiration dates.
And the best part, nothing really changes except us. Aging faster than we ever wanted.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Maybe it's time to take those heat warnings seriously, because if you thought climate change was just about weather, think again. But, can you believe that? Can you believe that?
That makes makes me wonder about the people who live in the hottest part of the world, and it's like 116 or 160 a day or whatever heck it is. I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, yeah. I think, but that's where that sentiment. Do you ever talk to people who live in those climates? Sometimes they look older than they do. Um,
That makes sense for Florida.
exactly, and it's one of those things where it makes sense now, right? With these types of studies starting to slowly come up, where people in hotter climates look a little older than they do, and it's starting to make sense. And it's wild. But it's definitely an issue that I was not expecting. Did you?
No. I've lived in hotter climates. Like, I prefer the hotter climates because I have a sense of smell. See, I don't feel like my bones are frozen all the time. And see, damn it! Now I have to stay in colder weather. I don't want to. Man, I look good for my age.
Fuck me,
but
right?
Damn.
You can
Right.
thank the colder climate for keeping you useful.
And only traveling occasionally to the warm areas. Like, right?
Yeah, you see, I think if you're just there for a little bit, you can let that. But yeah, it's
Age
definitely
me
something
a little bit microscopically, a little bit faster.
because yeah, it definitely makes sense if you're like basically quote roasting your body. I can imagine that's how it works because it's probably a whole bunch of terminology that you would have to read into. Just having these are just the cliff notes we are going through, but it's an interesting talk to have because I would never have thought. I could see it in a base level, right? Like, oh, I can kind of see it, but then seeing like studies starting to show that it's happening, I'm like, hot damn, I do not want to be outdoors. More so now, you just got to be a little bit more aware of the weather now. If that's one of your worries in life, right? I think it involves, I think, one side of the spectrum than others and individuals, right, that are worried about the look of their ages, right? Because yeah, it does definitely affect some people more than others. And now you have to worry about the weather more so it's even wearing some sunscreen SPF 90 is not going to help that much. It might help a little bit,
Right.
but
I had this running joke about oxidation, that we're oxidizing. We're slowly aging and we're oxidizing. But now we're just increasing the oxidation levels, obviously, by going into the sun and aging faster and dying.
so yeah, so let everyone listening or watching, let people know about this because yeah, it's wild. It is wild to know. And it's just one of the things, like it affects, like we mentioned in some of these articles, it affects people who aren't able to afford the luxury of, for people in those climates to have these air conditioning, because it's just like,
For
it
the
just
poor.
it just puts them.
It does actually make sense now. The poor look a little bit older than we think about it because their lives are a little bit harder. They're exposed to all the elements, and then to be in the heat, that truly does detrimental thing
So yeah, you
to them.
now we have an idea why, and it is we have a visual representation to it, right? So seeing it, just like, you can tell that they worked a lot, but then there's a scientific reason why they look the way they do, and it's wild to know that there's that science behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, and the people who work out in the gardens every day and we're out in the fields or whatever, it just it blows my mind. It actually makes freaking sense now. Of all the times I've ever looked at people like, damn, you're only that old, but you look like you're like my grandpa's age. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now it makes so freaking sense. It really does. Shit. Damn. It's the sun. It's killing us.
Oh,
But it's not
all
going to
right,
implode. It's going to slowly bake us. Got it.
exactly. So we covered a lot of ground today, from heroes saving the lives to jail shutting down calls, captivity horrors, and streamers acting like jerks. Now finding out what basically smoking packs of cigarettes just by living through heat wave.
It's been a real grab bag of the good, the bad, and the absolute what the fuck. But hey, at least we're talking about it, the craziness, and try to make sense of it. Or, just complain about it.
Okay, so we're going to hit the highlights one last time before we sign off here.
We had Jessica Higgs, the Instacart shopper who saved a man's life by just following her intuition. A little kindness and paying attention can literally save lives.
We talked about Baxter County Jail, brilliant idea of cutting off inmates' cells instead of following the FCC's regulation. Because why help people when you can just screw them over for profit?
A man finally escapes 20 years of captivity under his stepmother's control. His story is a little harsh reminder how easy it is for people to fall through the cracks of society.
And then we talked about Johnny Somali proving once again that being an obnoxious streamer can get you in real legal trouble. Maybe one day the internet will actually start holding people accountable.
And finally, extreme heat is not a discomfort. It's literally aging us faster. And one who suffers the most are the ones who can at least afford it.
So what's the takeaway from all this, Liz?
Well, besides the fact that the world, in fact, is a total dumpster fire, maybe the people need to start giving a damn about each other, about the climate, about, not being complete assholes.
Solid advice. So if anyone listening or watching is feeling overwhelmed by all this craziness, just remember, you don't have to fix the world, but trying to be a decent human being goes a long way.
Couldn't have said it better. So before we peace out, where can we find where people find you, Tyrant?
All right, so don't forget you can find us anywhere on social medias. You can let us know if you're listening to this on YouTube or Spotify or are listening to this on any podcast platform. Let us know your thoughts down below. And yeah, look forward to the new bonus episode when it comes out for Liz's book club special, and maybe we'll make it a series if it works out well. And any other thoughts, Liz, before we close out?
Nope, you'll be finding me dodging social media like the plague, but I'm always bringing the sass on the podcast.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening or watching. So don't forget to share this on social medias or tell a friend or family member. If you liked it, they might like it as well. So everyone, see you.